Well, hey guys, thank you for joining me. I want to go ahead and talk today about one of my favorite things about God. And if you know me, you know I've been part of leading worship in church, and I've been doing it for, 26 years, I guess. Wow, okay, didn't think it'd been that long, but I'm getting up there. At any rate, part of that has been the joy of getting to experience and glorify God in ways that doesn't feel quite the same when you're sitting in the audience. But I want to talk about the glory of God because it really is. It's an awesome and wonderful thing. And so let's talk about it because really, first question is, of course, what is His glory? And I like what Psalm chapter 24 says here in verse 10. It says, "Who is the King of glory? The Lord of heaven's armies. He is the King of glory." So right there, we're asking this question, who is the King of glory? Well, it's God Himself. God's glory, basically, it comes down to this idea that to some extent it's His honor, His reputation. It's His renown. And so when it talks about in Romans chapter 3 that, all of sin and fall short of the glory of God, it's saying that we didn't live up to His reputation. And as people who are created in His image, that's what we were created to do, is to live up to His reputation, to bring honor to Him in that way, bring glory to Him. And it also talks in Isaiah 43 about His children, people who call Him God. He says He made us for His glory. And so we see this aspect of His honor, His reputation in that. But it's more than that too. And I don't pretend to understand the full nature of the relationship. And honestly, I may never understand God's glory fully. And that's okay with me. I serve an infinite God, after all. So how can I, a finite person, understand God fully or anything about God fully? At any rate, it is more than just His reputation, okay? There's this idea of light, of a grandeur. For example, like when King Solomon in the Old Testament was dedicating the temple, we see God come and inhabit the temple. And when he does, the Bible talks about his Shekinah glory coming, and this kind of this fog that glowed, just settling down over the countryside to show that God was in residence now. It's a big deal. But that's not all that we see in the Bible about that. We also talk about the end times when God has wiped everything clean, and He makes a new heaven, a new earth, and He's talking about how beautiful and wonderful this place is. Psalm chapter 21, verse 23, and says, "And the city has no need of sun or moon, for the glory of God illuminates the city, and the Lamb its light. The nations will walk in its light, and the kings of the world will enter the city in all their glory. Its gates will never be closed at the end of the day, because there is no night there." Guys, His glory is going to be the literal light of paradise when time ceases to mean anything. We get all that and more. We also see that this reputation has a radiance to it. Matter of fact, in Hebrews, it even talks about how Jesus is the exact representation of God's, the exact representation of His glory, the radiance of His glories, I believe the term it uses. So there's this idea of light to it. But He doesn't just end it with this is God and this is glory, because we were made in His image. We were made to reflect that. And so we see that in 2 Corinthians 3:18. Here it is. It says, "So all of us who have had that veil removed can see and reflect the glory of God. And the Lord, who is the Spirit, makes us more and more like Him as we are changed into His glorious image." So we can reflect God's glory as we are changed from sinners to people who are more like Jesus. So I want to encourage you, go out there, reflect God's glory. Let's do it together. All right, guys. I love you. I will see you next time. Bye.